The Vols are back.
Yeah. Money make the world go round. I'm trying to get it all right now. Everybody worry about the crown being. Look, homie, I'm the man right now. Talking to a peon, kind of time we on. Don't roll like the kind of take eons. Got a little buzz, it's time to go beyond. Can't look back, no time to hit rewind. Yeah, she wants to do S-class. I'm like, boo, you must ask. They pour way too much in your glass. Just move your hips like a hold up class. Get the gab, I talk that gap. Strut like up, man, I walk that shit. When I'm up, that's it. I'ma start living reckless. Get that bag, I'ma walk like this. Yeah, I'ma walk like this. Hit that lane, I'ma walk like this. Walk in the spot, but they all get lit. Tell them on flow, let me talk my shit. Every song bang when they drop in hit. Said on the man, post stop, no miss. Over your head, next time, don't slip. Play your part, better read that script. Yeah, I'ma walk like this.
Oh yeah, you already know what time it is. That's right. It's time for everybody's favorite show here on the Squidtard channel. Oh, look, matching clothes. Oi, fellow comrades, it is Squidtard here along with my boys, Mr. Lucas Sharp, as always, and in making his triumphant return, Mr. Julio Rodriguez.
Yeah, I'm back.
That's right, we're glad to have you back. Welcome to the 53rd episode of the Vol Star Podcast. We've come a long way, haven't we? 53 episodes. How about that, huh? Got some people in the chat already. Noah James 98 and Rocky. What's going on, you guys? Glad to see the peoples in here as always. Got a lot to talk about today, of course, as the title would suggest. Today we are doing our official Tennessee predictions. And unlike how we did our SEC predictions beforehand, we're each having our own prediction. It's not unified, so I even made a smexy graphic for all three of us and all of our predictions, so we'll have that to go off of for sure. Well, how are my two co-hosts doing tonight?
Good right now. Just waiting, I guess, to get the show started. That's about it.
Well, so wait no more.
Yeah.
Glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty fine.
Good to hear. Absolutely phenomenal to hear. Well, first off, before anything else, I have to do this every single show. I want to let you guys know, if this is your first time watching the Vol Star Podcast, we are glad to have you over here. We are not affiliated with the University of Tennessee. We are just big-time Tennessee Vol fans over here. So even if you're not a Tennessee Vol fan, even if you're somebody like a Texas fan, we're glad to have you over here on Squidtard Sports. As always, if you feel like representing the channel, there is a super chat button down below or the PayPal in the description. And if you want to reach out to that, that would be greatly appreciated. For every dollar I receive in donations, I will get on the ground and do one push-up, one full push-up, because Lucas got on my ass about that the last time I did that. So, yeah. Best I remember what an actual push-up is. So keep that in mind if you feel like donating to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. All right, well, we got a lot of news to drop. From this point onward, up until February, this is going to be a primarily football-based podcast series. This is what we've been waiting on all year long. And from this point onward, up until February, we got college football every Saturday. So that's absolutely spectacular. I think all of us are really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to it. Finally, talking season's over. We're finally going to be able to watch football. You know what I mean?
Yeah, both college football and NFL is about to start. NFL preseason's already kicked off, and the Tennessee Titans undefeated in the preseason, baby.
If anything, that's a curse, and you should know that all too well. There have been plenty of teams that started 4-0 in preseason and then went through the regular season letting out big fat diarrhea. The Cleveland Browns from 2017, as an example, I think that was the year they went winless. They went 4-0 in the preseason and then 0-16 in the actual season. I'm not saying that the Titans are going to go winless, but...
No, we're beating the Bears week 1, bro.
Ooh. Hearing a lot of good things about the Bears, so we'll see. We'll find out a lot from that. What's going on?
We hear a lot of good things about the Bears every year, bro.
Oh yeah. What's up, TriStar? Having fun on Kentucky Sports Radio stream with those dumb coal miners? I bet. I'm willing to bet you are. They are. They're coping right now for sure.
Yeah, they're
Wait,
probably
what happened with Kentucky? Did something bad happen?
Kentucky
Well,
Sports Radio.
other than the fact that they're Kentucky fans, which is pretty bad in itself, they have the whole allegations about violations going around. But that was from a couple of weeks ago. They're also just upset that Tennessee's recruiting really well, which we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more today. So
Kentucky thinks that Brock Vandergriff is better than Nico.
Yeah. No, there are really no words to describe that other than, who was recruited where, is all I'll say. When you look at the rankings, who's the number one recruit and who is not. Something to think about. But anyway, if you guys feel like giving a like to this this stream, make sure to give a like for everyone helps out this channel. It gets more people in here, and that's what we need more than anything is more people to engage here on the podcast. I love engaging with you guys every single Monday. So reach out to anybody if you feel like letting them know about the podcast. We have a great time over here. All right, well, let's get into some of the topics for today. I don't have anything on any other sport other than football. So if you're here for any of the other sports, sorry to inform you, but there is nothing on those sports for the week. So I apologize for that. But then again, like I did say, this is going to be a primarily football-based podcast for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's going to be football and basketball come November.
It is true. That is true. We'll have a lot to talk about there for sure. All right. Well, first off, as you saw by this graphic right here, it is officially 12 days until football time in Tennessee. So very, very pumped for that. Gonna have to make my hate video for Chattanooga at some point in time. For the one Chattanooga fan that exists, if there are any out there, please let yourself be known.
Trigger that one Chattanooga fan.
Would they even get triggered? Like, I don't know. Like, fans like that are just sort of like, yeah, I know we suck. I know we don't stand a chance.
The thing is, yeah, they probably wouldn't even get mad. They would just know. They would just be like, yeah, we already know we're gonna lose. But yeah, kind of like Austin P last year when we took on Austin P. Everybody on Ball Twitter was trying to find some Austin P fans to crap talk, and all the Austin P fans were just like, yeah, we already know we're gonna lose, so why are you bothering us?
Right. Yeah, let's see. Andrew the Textbook, what's up? We have officially reached week 0. That is right. Don't hate on UT Chattanooga. That's close to Polk County. Well, there are a lot of things close to Polk County, but does anybody really remember? I don't know. Take that as Chattanooga trash talk, not Polk County trash talk. We got a lot of time to trash talk Chattanooga for this stream and the next. All right. Well, anyway, let's talk about some of the other stuff. So, firstly, I looked at the All-American rosters for both freshmen and just the preseason All-America team, and we've got 2 All-American players on the All-America team. That being, of course, James Pierce Jr., who has been foreseen by a lot of people as the greatest player in the country right now. And then, of course, our good old lineman, Cooper Mays. Both of those guys making the All-America team. Shout out to both of those guys right there. They put in the work, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they pan out, especially Pierce, of course.
Yeah.
He's going to absolutely body some of these offensive lines.
Yeah, Pierce is going to do extremely well this year. He's still projected to be a top 5 pick and possibly the number 1 overall pick. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, there's that. And Cooper Mays, of course, he's usually our best lineman every single season, it seems like.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be gone before this season, so I'm really glad he's making a return. Because then it would have had a few more concerns about the O-line. But Heupel's done an amazing job not only getting offensive linemen to come to Tennessee, which we'll talk about in a minute, but he's also done a great job just keeping it stacked. I mean, he got Zalance Hurd over from LSU to help in the guard position. I mean, or is he a left tackle? My bad. But no, we got him. We got a whole bunch of other key playmakers. Our offensive line is really, really good. So, yeah. Along with that, I talked about the freshman All-America team. Yes, that is true. Tennessee did have a player make that list. And the best part about it is it's a defensive back, being none other than Mr. Boo Carter. He's on the All-America freshman team. So shout out to Boo Carter. He's going to absolutely make some noise this season. He's going to make some noise at Tennessee for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. And the funniest part about this is that I was told by opposing fan bases that it was impossible for anybody on our defensive backfield to be good. It's just impossible. Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Every single defense is going to put up 60 points behind. Or like every single offense is going to throw for 500 yards. They're going to score 40 points. All the naysayer talk. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Well, those people are going to be quiet after this season because Tennessee's going to have one of the best. Tennessee's not only going to have one of the best front sevens in the SEC this year, but they're going to have one of the best front sevens in the entire country. And you can bank on that, man.
Absolutely right. Cannot argue with that. Seems like a
Yeah.
nice little factoid right there.
Yeah, and secondary, honestly, I've heard it's been looking good in the camps, which I know it's just, you could say it's just practice, but
Right. Well, all trolling aside, to the opposing fan bases, I mean, they are right to say that the secondary on Tennessee is like the obvious big concern. Because we had 7 players in our secondary hit the transfer portal last season, so it only makes sense that would be the central concern. But to say that it's going to automatically be terrible because it's a concern is, it's a concern that doesn't mean it's going to be absolutely terrible. But
yeah.
I just say let them know about it. We'll
Yeah,
find out for sure.
All I know is our secondary is definitely going to be better than last year's. Not that our secondary was absolutely down horrendous, because Kamal Hadden basically proved a lot of people wrong last year.
Yeah, right.
Because so many people were absolutely clowning on Kamal Hadden, and then he come out and had the best season he's had at UT.
Oh yeah, great year. He had a phenomenal year.
Really, I feel like the only person I think that we missed on, I guess, letting go in the secondary was Wesley Walker. I felt like he was talented, but he's kind of injury prone also.
Yeah.
But other than him, I feel safe about who all departed in the secondary. They didn't really play a lot.
Mm-hmm. Or when they did play, I just didn't see too many good things out of them. You know what I mean? Not to try and down these players, I just didn't really see anything that's, it wasn't like I was, completely shocked and depressed once they left. If that's a good way of putting it. Obviously, I wish them the best wherever they go, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. You get what I'm saying.
All I know is that the people who have been saying fire Tim Banks, which I'll admit, even I was saying fire Tim Banks. I think all of us were. The thing is, though, with Tim Banks, it's hard to decide how good he is because every single year the defense has gotten better. Year one, we can all agree our defense was absolutely horrendous that year.
Well, I will say this about this season because one thing that I know for a fact is that Tim Banks, every single year he's been at Tennessee, his defense has steadily improved. Like in 21, it was terrible. In 22, it had its fair share of bad games. In 2023, it had, few and far between and actually won us some games. So in 24, the expectation would be that it's going to be, because even last year it was a top 15 defense, maybe it's a top, borderline top 10 defense, which with an offense that's steadily improved over 2023, you're talking about a top 10 team right there, just based on that alone. But my point here being that if the defense does fall apart, especially the backfield, of course I'm going to put some of the blame on Tim Banks, but a lot of it is going to be on Willie Martinez because I've heard a lot about people wanting him gone. He's the only guy that's been with Heupel ever since he came to Tennessee. So in my mind, In my mind, we got to really see something out of that backfield.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I might be on that train sooner or later.
Yeah, with the way the defense is, if the defense somehow does poorly this year, not gonna lie, I wouldn't want Tim Banks fired. I would want Willie Martinez fired.
Yeah, it depends which part of the defense.
Yeah.
Like, if it's like a formation issue, because I've seen that before and it happened in plenty of times before where we're blitzing and crap on third down and they get a wide open receiver down the field, the whole third and Banks thing. That is a problem, and that really bothers me if it's a formation issue. Now, if it's like the defensive line is holding their own and they're doing everything that they need to do, but they're just for whatever reason finding all these receivers down the field and it's entirely on the DBs, then that puts pretty much all the pressure on Martinez. Yeah. But that's my take on it.
Yeah, another thing about the defense, Uncle Lou, of course, he's talks trash about Tennessee whenever he gets the chance. But in his Tennessee prediction video, he admitted that Tennessee is going to have one of the most underrated defenses this year.
One of the best in the SEC. Might be the best defensive line in the SEC.
Yeah, Tennessee's going to have one of the best front sevens, and not just the SEC, but all of college football.
Yeah, see, even your smoke alarm agrees. Speaking of which, that hurts.
I guess I'll mute for a second.
Yeah, who's starting a friggin' fire in Lucas's house? Not cool.
All right, it's gone now.
Okay,
there we go.
I was like, is somebody trying? Are you getting fired?
Oh, I thought that was my house for a second because I started looking around. Then I was like, oh, it came from Lucas. I was like, what the hell?
I was like, somebody trying to get Lucas out of his room, I guess. It's funny. All right, well, anyway, let's go ahead and move on. So we do have to talk about Tennessee recruiting, and it has been a great week of recruiting. I will say that. But this is
so
the big
great.
news.
Josh Pate made a video on it.
Oh yeah. Well, obviously, this is the biggest news of the week right here. We all kind of figured this was going to be the case, but now it's confirmed, and of course, a lot of people are big mad and crying about it, which, makes it even better. But yes, we did pick up the absolute unit himself, the number one offensive tackle in the nation, Mr. David Sanders Jr. He is officially committed to Tennessee. He's the number one offensive tackle in the nation, as I previously just said, and the number 2 overall player in the class of 2025, according to 247 Sports composite rankings. He chose Tennessee over Ohio State, Georgia, and Nebraska. And this also gives Tennessee their second highest rated commitment in program history. So, yeah, big news right there, to say the least. That's a huge pickup for the Vols. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah. Go ahead and get some protection for Nico for next year.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because I would imagine David Sanders is going to be starting as soon as he gets on campus.
Day one starter, absolutely. Julio, any take from you?
I think our offensive line is going to be good this year, but I think y'all were looking towards the future. And if we're going towards the future, I feel good about the tackles, the left and right tackles.
Mm-hmm.
So because of Davis Sanders and then also Benny Warren. So that's all I got to say, really. I don't know too much about the guard, who's going to play guard, because usually they switch those around and guards play center and centers play guards and stuff like that nowadays. So.
Right. Well, nonetheless, this is a huge pickup for Tennessee right here. It's going to really, really, really spike this 2025 class, and it could very well potentially be a top 5 class when all's said and done. So, yeah. Very, very happy about that, to say the least.
Yeah, top 10 at this point is basically the minimum now, because it's going to be a top 10 class. Can it be a top 5 class now?
Mm-hmm. Now, what's confusing is I was told that Heupel can't recruit. Heupel can't recruit. Because of that, he's going to get fired in 3 years and all that. You know where those people are now?
In Orlando?
Nowhere.
I was hoping you'd say you wouldn't know, because I don't either. Nobody does, because they disappeared.
I was just going to say Orlando because it was mostly UCF fans.
Yeah, UCF fans are pretty
Well,
much grasping at straws.
here's one thing I will say. I do think Gus Malzahn is probably, uh, I mean, I would say him and Heupel maybe are like pretty equal recruiting wise, at least in my opinion. But I think the problem was with Heupel at UCF was that he was at a program. I hate to say this, but it's not been around that long, and it's kind of usually pretty hard to sell. But now it's easier to sell since you're in a better conference.
Exactly.
I'm more ready to look past that since now you're actually getting some big money.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I hear you.
That definitely helps.
Yeah, UCF was already making good money even as a group of fives program, and now they're making even more money.
Yeah, out of anybody, I think they had the biggest right to go to the Power Five.
One of the reasons is, if I remember correctly, ain't they got like the most alumni out of any school, like in the past, like 20 years or something like that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they should find enough people that are good donors or something like that.
Yeah, I would imagine they have like a lot of boosters and donors.
Cite that as to why they'll beat Florida. Anyway.
So yeah, UCF was basically ready to move to the Power Five.
Oh yeah.
And I think South Florida is going to be one of the next few to move up to the Power Five.
Alex Golish, baby. He's taken to the promised land, I'll tell you that much. All right, well, that was not the only recruit we picked up this week. In fact, we picked another one that really surprised a lot of people, including myself. And I know there's a certain fan base that is sitting there in agony after this one. That's all right. We'll wait.
Hold up. Hey, you want to know what Josh Heupel did to Kalen DeBoer?
Yeah.
All right, I'm Josh Heupel, and this Coke bottle is Kalen DeBoer. He just shoved him in the locker, baby.
Okay, that was worth it. I didn't know what you got up and left midway through me talking for, but that was worth it. Good job.
Yeah.
But yes, 4-star linebacker Jaden Harmon, who was originally committed to Alabama, has flipped his commitment from Alabama to Tennessee. That's what you get for Henry To'oTo'o. That's what happens. Anyway, he's a linebacker from Rome, Georgia, and is ranked as the top 130th player in the class of 2025. He's also the 13th overall linebacker in the country, according to On3 recruiting rankings. So there you go. Big pickup right there for the defense. Another great one, and also pretty much screwed over Alabama. They're getting ready to tell us about, this coach that we don't have anymore beat y'all this amount of times in the last, 100 years. Remember that? Remember when the coach that we don't have anymore beat y'all? Yeah, I do. Yeah, reminisce on the good times while you're at it. Reality's going to come setting in pretty quick.
Yeah. I already told Alabama fans that Tennessee is in the upwards direction while Alabama is basically trending downwards.
But don't you know they have the coach that they don't have anymore beat us. So,
yeah, and that's the reason why they're trending upwards.
It's like when LSU fans tell me that their program is better than ours because they won a Natty in 2019, as if that really makes any sense for today. Can you believe that? 2019 was 5 years ago. It's actually kind of crazy.
I was still in high school.
Yeah. All the more reason to say that it's a stupid claim if you're talking about 2019 as a reason as to why your program is better. None of the players or coaches that stuck with them in that 2019 team are there in the current day and age. So take from that what you will. But yeah, no, it feels good to clown on Alabama, obviously. Here's the graphic too, by the way. I made that one. Look at that. Yeah, it's very nice and clean. Yeah, no, we're glad to have another big time recruit over here. Okay, and I did not make that graphic. That was a lie. I did make the background with the checkerboards, but no, the graphic was made by a guy on Twitter, Hayes Fawcett or whatever his name is. Great guy.
Oh yeah, that Hayes Fawcett who works for On3.
Makes looking up recruiting a whole lot easier, so shout out to him. But yes, anyway, that is a big pickup for Tennessee, and just another reason why our 2025 class might just end up being a top 5 class. So we'll figure that one out later on down the line, won't we?
Yeah.
All right, then. So coming up next, let's see. Oh, by the way, this is something new. Now, not many people really care about this. Some people did get mad about it for whatever reason, but Tennessee football has reached an agreement with Pilot, the gas station company, yes, that preserves the name of both Neyland Stadium and Shield Watkins Field. And no, it does not mean that it's going to change the name of the stadium, but however, it does mean that there's going to be a Pilot logo on the 25-yard line of both sides now. So, get used to seeing that. But other than that, there really isn't much else changing other than those few things. I think it's for the good, and also money.
Yeah. It's obviously for the money.
Right.
It's now gonna be what, Neyland Stadium preserved by Pilot, I guess.
Yes.
So yeah.
Correct.
I don't blame Tennessee for doing it. They're trying to get ahead of the curve before everybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
Try to get some more money that you can use in NIL.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And of course, with NIL money means more 5-star recruits. So
exactly.
Can't be mad about that.
Exactly. We're playing the game that everybody else is. We're just playing it better than everybody else, and that's all there is to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I know some people were mad saying that it should have been Weigels and not Pilot.
I mean, that's hard to disagree with. I kind of get behind that. Weigels is primarily Knoxville.
Yeah, Weigel's Twitter account, absolutely elite.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, I mean, you could have chosen either or, but I do think Weigels was the better choice. Nonetheless, money. That's all there is to it, you know what I mean? All right, well, before we get into the main thing for today, which is, of course, our predictions, I did want to show you guys this. I made a new graphic last night, and yes, I actually did make this one. It is my first top 25 of the season, my preseason top 25. Everybody's been making their own, and I decided I was going to join on it since I made my own rankings the last 2 years. So I thought I would make my preseason top 25 rankings. And some of the takes might be controversial. Of course, people are going to disagree with some of the placements I have. But that's all there is to it. You guys will get a live reaction as well as everybody else. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on the screen for the people, and then I'll have to switch it over to the StreamYard as well so that my two co-hosts can see it. But for the people watching over on the YouTube, here you go. This is my preseason top 25. So let me see if I forgot. I can't put an overlay here because I'd have to pay for the big StreamYard subscription in order to do that. It's very big stupid. So I'll just do this. All right, there we go. So this is my preseason top 25. So I put Ohio State at 1. Both of those teams are interchangeable. Georgia 2, Ohio State 1. You could do either or. It doesn't really matter. I think both teams are really talented. I just think that Ohio State, with their base roster, has more talented players than Georgia. Georgia's more stacked, I think, but Ohio State has more the talent advantage slightly. Then after Georgia, you got Oregon at 3 and Texas at 4. So, the top 4 are pretty easy to guess. Those are pretty much, in most people's eyes, the top 4 teams in college football right now. Behind that, you got Ole Miss at 5, who we did do predictions for last week. And we actually had them going 12-0, which was definitely surprising. I did not think I would do that. But yeah, after that, you got Notre Dame at 6. And I'm a believer in Notre Dame. Riley Leonard, I think, was a great pickup for the Fighting Irish. I think they're a steadily improving team. And then Alabama at 7. So I put Bama at 7. I think they are taking a step back with Kalen DeBoer, but I still think they're a top 10 team currently. Still got a lot of talent, and from what I've seen, I don't think they're going to take too many steps back without Nick Saban. And then, of course, the defending national champions at 8, the Michigan Wolverines. I didn't want to push them too far back since they did just come off a championship. Now, like Bama, they did lose their head coach as well, but they still have quite a bit of talent there. And, I think they'll be just fine without Harbaugh, just my opinion. Then after that, you got Utah at 9. And then Penn State at 10. Both those teams still pretty good, even though Penn State is cursed with the eternal 10-2. Utah probably leading for the Big 12, in my opinion. After that, you got Missouri at 11. I mean, they've got the best wide receiver in the country right now. along with some key playmakers who I think can make an impact for him. We'll see how they end up. Another big playmaker, this one on Oklahoma State, who is number 12, Ollie Gordon. I think is a really, really good player. Oklahoma State's also got a really good team, and they've got a favorable schedule that works out pretty well for him. After that, of course, this is where I put the Tennessee Vols at number 13. So, I didn't want to rank them too high because then it would be, you're just biased for Tennessee. So I decided I would just keep them at 13 because I do think Tennessee is going to be a really good team this year. They've got great defense. The offense will be much more steadily improved from last year. I think they're going to make a lot of noise. It will probably be chances are they'll be a playoff team, but we'll find out. After that, I got Clemson at 14. Now, I was really confused on where to put Clemson, but I decided I'd keep them around that top 15 range. I still think they're a pretty good team, but I'm going to have to see some stuff from Dabo if I want to keep them there. We'll find out, though, after week 1. Kansas State at 15. I think they've got some key playmakers. I'm a believer in Avery Johnson. I think he's going to make a big impact in the Big 12. And then, of course, Miami at 16. I think they're going to make some noise in the ACC. Probably in most people's eyes, other than Clemson, the favorite to win the ACC. Oklahoma at 17. I think they're suffering from a lot of the same kind of concerns that Tennessee had, the defensive backfield. And if that offensive line improves from last season, then Oklahoma could be a pretty good team with Jackson Arnold at the helm. Then after that, NC State at 18. And no, I'm not ranking them because it would make Tennessee look better. I do think NC State is a pretty good team this year. They've got a lot of big playmakers on their squad. And I think they are going to stick around for a while, even after Tennessee beats them week 2. After that, LSU at 19. I think their offense is still going to be pretty good, even without Jaden Daniels. But I don't know. I still got to see more from that. And then, of course, their defense was absolutely terrible. So we'll need to see more from there as well. Arizona at 20. Arizona, of course, I kept them in my rankings because I think they're still a pretty good team. We'll have to find out if last year was a fluke or not while they're going to transition to the Big 12. Then after that, Kansas, my favorite, Jayhawks at 21. Of course, this is the first time Kansas is in the preseason poll since 2009, so shout out to the Jayhawks. They've got some playmakers for sure. I put Florida State all the way down at 22 because I think out of anybody right now, Florida State's going to take the hardest fall off this season. The offseason drama really kind of affects out all the transfers that they have. I'm just not a believer in Florida State. However, I still think right now they're still a top 25 team. Maybe not after Georgia Tech beats them in Ireland, but right now I think that's where they'll stick. Then West Virginia and Virginia Tech at 23 and 24. Both of these teams I put as dark horses to win their conference, so I stuck them around in that 23-24 range because I think they can make some noise in their respective conferences. And then finally at 25, I've got Florida. And yeah, Florida's terrible. Florida, they suck. Well, I know that's not the case. Florida's going to be a pretty good team this year. Even if their record at the end of the season won't show it because their schedule is so brutal, I still think Florida is a pretty good team. So, okay, yeah, that is my preseason top 25. I had to give brief explanations for why I had the teams where they were. Co-host, what are your thoughts on that?
I think for the most part, I agree with almost everything. I think I might have had Utah higher. I don't know. And I think I might have had Ole Miss lower. I don't know. I think that's really about the only disagreements. I probably would have put Michigan a little bit up higher just because they're national champs. Defending at least right now. But I wouldn't put them at like 3. I probably would have put them, I don't know, probably around 5. Probably.
I didn't want to lean on last season too hard because doing that probably leads to you just overhyping teams because, you have to take into account who they've lost and all that. And I don't think they've lost their entire team, but it's just, I don't think, because like Florida State, they lost their entire team. So that's why I put them down with it so low. But Michigan, yeah, maybe I could have put them a little higher. I don't know. Lucas, what about you? What are your thoughts?
It's a pretty good top 25. I don't agree with Florida being ranked though. I think maybe A&M should be there.
I don't know. I just really don't know what to think about Mike Elko and Texas A&M. Now, of course, in our predictions, we actually did have them beating Notre Dame. So if they end up doing that, then absolutely they're going to end up in my week 2 top 25. But no, but right now I'm just they're sort of close. They're really really close to being ranked. I just stuck with Florida since I actually had Florida beating A&M in my predictions for the Gators. So
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying Florida's going to be absolutely terrible this year. I'm just not a big believer in Florida this year, man.
right, fair enough. I can't really disagree with that. However, they can. I just still think they can make some noise in the conference. We'll see. We're bound to find out for sure. Any other thoughts?
I
Not
agree.
really.
I agree with Ohio State at 1. I know that's going to make a lot of Georgia fans triggered, but I think
Yeah.
Ohio State's the best team heading into the season.
Well, yeah, I think if we're just looking at what we got this year and just not, it depends on what you. I think if you like I was, I don't think you should base your preseason rankings like off of like how the past years have gone. I feel like you should just use, who's got the best roster, who's got the favorable schedule, this and that. And I think
Exactly.
if you look at all that, it's just Ohio State.
Yeah, and plus, not to mention, they brought in Chip Kelly as their offensive coordinator.
Well, yeah,
Right.
and see, the other thing is, I think if Ohio State, let's just say they only lose 2 games, and that's this year, and that's they somehow lose to Michigan again, and the only other game they lose is maybe one of their playoff games. I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
like far they might make it because it would depend on the playoff field, but say those their only 2 losses. I think Ryan Day gets fired.
Wow.
And I-
Bold
and I,
take,
and I
but
know that sounds crazy to people. Like, why would you fire him after going at worst? Probably what 12-2 or something like that.
it
Or
just sort
no,
of
no.
depends. Like if
I
Yeah, I
they
mean, I don't know.
lose to Michigan and some other team, go 10-2, make the playoffs, and then lose round 1, they'll definitely put Ryan Day on the hot seat for that. I could
Well,
definitely see
actually, I
that.
mean, I guess they might have to play Michigan a second time because don't the Big Ten don't they have an open conference now and it's not separated by
Right.
divisions?
yeah, they
So
don't.
Well, if Oregon beats them, then yeah, it'll be
yeah,
Oregon and Michigan probably.
yeah, and well, I mean that's what I'm saying. I mean they could also lose to Oregon, but I think that let's just say that's their only loss, which is Michigan, and then also losing in the playoff. I think Ryan Day gets fired. I mean I don't think that.
Wow. Well, that
And
is definitely a bold take. I will say that much.
I
I,
think
I know people call me crazy, but if you've ever been around Ohio State fans, you know, it depends on how, like, of course, if you're maybe more younger, but especially a lot of the older fans, they'd probably rather be Michigan win the national title. Like, if it was guaranteed, like, I think some Ohio State fans might take the deal, maybe
Hmm.
just older ones, but, like, if you were to say, like, beat Michigan or national championship, I think that a lot of the older fans would take it.
Right, right. Well, we're bound to find out for sure. But yeah, that's my preseason rankings, and yeah, I'll post that on Twitter. And then once we get through week 1, then I'll make my week 2 rankings. I'm not gonna update my rankings just after week 0, so I can move Florida State down and Georgia Tech up. You know what I mean? So we'll just wait after week 1, and then I'll make my next rankings. Okie dokie then. Well, let's roll into the main attraction for today's show, which is it's time for our predictions, boys. And yes, I did make a graphic for each of us. So let me show it real quick. Da, 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 look at that. That's beautiful. So you guys have to look on YouTube to find it. I saw about that.
yeah.
StreamYard's so stupid for that he won't even let me like show this on screen.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. But unfortunately for you, Lucas, that does mean because we're gonna go in rotation, so you will go first, then Julio, and then me. So
So
sort of put you
what?
on the spot.
So are we doing it like game by game? Like I choose
Yes.
pick first, and then Julio next, and then
Correct.
All right, so
So obviously we start out with Chattanooga, and I don't have to guess too much on whether or not you think you're winning or losing, right?
oh yeah, we're definitely gonna lose to Chattanooga. They're too good. Of course,
Chattanooga playoff team, sure.
yeah. Chattanooga's a playoff team. They're the best team out of the Big South.
Well, technically, I think if you go off how good they are in their division, they're technically a playoff team, sir. So.
Well, an FCS playoff team, sir.
Whoa!
It's a joke, but
Okay, anyway.
But yes, a win over UT Chattanooga. It's gonna be a blowout. We're gonna see backups playing. We're probably gonna see some of the cheerleaders getting to throw the ball.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Julio, you agree with that?
yeah, I mean, I was just trolling a little bit, but yeah, I agree with it.
All right, and then yes, I will also agree. So there you go. That's all 3 W's for each of us right there. All right, next up, this is a big game right here. NC State in Charlotte, North Carolina, neutral site matchup at night. NC State, like I talked about, they're in my preseason top 25 for a reason. I think they're a really good team. I think they've got quite a few playmakers. I think they're going to make a lot of noise in the ACC, and this is going to be a really interesting game. I think you guys can. I think you guys can agree with that for the most part.
Yeah.
A lot
I
of
will
people are
say
gonna
we.
keep their eyes on this one.
Yeah, we should. Of course, you shouldn't sleep on any team, but we should definitely, of course, not sleep on NC State. They're going to be a good team this year. Don't get me wrong,
Well,
but.
Grayson McCall going up against the Tennessee DBs. This is going to really put that defensive backfield to the test, I think.
Yeah.
So we're going to find out a lot about how good they are and how good they're going to be after this game.
Yeah. But it of course, this is going to be so far toughest test of the season. But I feel like Tennessee should win this game. I feel like there's no way we lose this game. Ever since year 1 when we lost to Pitt, we've been undefeated against the ACC. I'm sorry, they're in the ACC. The ACC, in my opinion, is just not a good conference. And the SEC is just far superior than the ACC. So when we take on NC State in Charlotte, North Carolina, we're going to show them what real football looks like.
All right, Julio.
I think Tennessee wins. I don't know by how much. I mean, there's a world where we go out there and we could, beat the brakes off them. But there's also out there whenever a possibility out there that, we might lose by like 3 points or whatever. But I don't really think that's gonna happen. I think that Tennessee probably at least wins by, I don't know, at least 7. I think.
I think Tennessee will at least win by 2 scores, to be honest with you.
Okay, then. Well, yeah.
I think it's the most likely outcome, but I think it's because maybe we're up. They trying to get up in a hurry, maybe near the end of the game, and they throw like a game, clinching pick 6 or something like that.
Yeah.
Right, maybe. I could think of this as being. Do you guys remember? Of course you remember. This is another ACC matchup, but it's from years past. The Battle of Bristol between Tennessee and Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech got an early 14-0 lead on us, and then once things got under control late through the first quarter, that's when Tennessee climbed their way back into the game and scored a bunch of points, and then eventually took the game over. I think we could definitely see a scenario like that in this one, where Grayson McCall throws off Tennessee's defense, gets some scores in, maybe takes a 2-score lead, but then Tennessee climbs their way back in, and because Tennessee has a tendency of sticking with a lot of teams and not going away, and I think that'll be the case here. I think they'll not only go away, but I think they'll come back and they'll get the dub over NC State. So there you go. That's my take on it. All right, next up we got Kent State. It's at home. Another, matchup. What time is this one? This is a night game, actually. So Kent State, one of the worst teams in the FBS, going under the lights at Neyland Stadium. Do you think they stand a chance?
No, literally the same with the UT Chattanooga game. It's going to be a blowout. We're going to see probably some kid's parent, some player's parent get to have some playing time. We might be able who knows? Maybe I'll be able to drive over there and get some playing time as
We'll
well.
find out. Hopefully, we're going to be in attendance for some of these games. Julio, what about you? What's your take?
Crickets.
Well, look, if Julio were here, I feel like he would go ahead and say this is a dub.
Yeah.
Oh, so sorry about that. Oh,
You're good.
I think we'll win.
Gotcha.
I mean,
Good. Glad we're in agreement on that one. All right. So, yep, there's our third win of the season. So 3-0 for all of us. No differences so far, but maybe we'll see one here as we're going on the road. Nico's true road test on the road going into Oklahoma. Josh Heupel returning to Norman after his 2000 National Championship season. Jackson Arnold, how much has he improved for Oklahoma? Really a lot of questions for the Sooners this season. So we're bound to see, I'm guessing, some sort of improvement out of Jackson Arnold. If the offensive line improves for Oklahoma, this could be a very, very tough game and could be a shootout. So we're bound to find out. Lucas, we'll start with you as always. What's your take? Who's coming out with the dub?
All right. I think the only advantage Oklahoma has into this game is that it's at Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
I feel if this game was played at Neyland, I think Tennessee wins somewhat easily. I feel like the only reason Oklahoma really has a shot is because it's at Oklahoma.
Yeah. Well, what's your take?
I feel the same way. I was going to say that.
But yeah, I do think Tennessee has the better staff. I think we have a better roster and everything. And plus, we're even going to be more battle tested with the game against NC State. While Oklahoma, first 3 games, all they play is Cupcake U. Their first 3 weeks.
Tulane.
But wait, don't
Tulane's not too
they
bad.
play Tulane?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, it's nowhere. I don't think they're as good as NC State, but I'm just saying, I don't think they're too far behind, really.
No, you can get behind that.
but yeah,
Win or lose.
Yeah, I'm gonna say win. We're gonna be more battle tested. We're gonna be a better team, even though it's on the road.
All right. Well, Julio, you agree?
Yeah, I practically agree with everything you said, and I think you kind of took most of my points.
Looks like we're all in agreement there because I believe that Tennessee comes out with the dub as well. I do like Oklahoma. I think they'll be a steadily improved team this season. I do think they'll have some growing pains in the SEC. Our win over them being one of them. So we'll see how that goes. All right, potential trap game here after a bye week. On the road at Arkansas. So this is another road test for Nico in Fayetteville. Now, Arkansas's got a lot of questions, but especially after losing KJ Jefferson. But with Sam Pittman at the helm, a lot of people are wondering if this could potentially be his last year. So, we're bound to see, I think, some improvement out of Arkansas. How much, though, we'll just have to find out and see. I have no idea how good Taylor Green's going to be as the quarterback for Oklahoma. He may not even get the start. It may be Malachi Singleton, but I highly doubt that. Nonetheless, there's a lot of questions for there's a whole lot of questions for Arkansas this season. That's all I'm gonna say. Y'all think there's any chance they beat Tennessee?
No.
No, I think Tennessee. This is a potential blowout game. Honestly, there's just so many questions for Arkansas, and I'm honestly confident in this team to go into Arkansas and beat them, especially after going into Oklahoma and beating Oklahoma.
Right. Fair enough. All right then. Well, you heard it from them. I think we're all in agreement. Wins against Arkansas on the road, so we all think Tennessee's going 5-0. So no differences there. But now we're getting to a pretty tough stretch here. These are all home games, thankfully, but they're pretty tough home games. On the road at Florida is what we start with. Obviously, Florida has given us a bunch of trouble the past bunch of years. They beat us last year in Gainesville. Y'all think we get revenge on them this year?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't pick us if it was a Swamp, just because, as much as we're talented over them, we had bad juju there, but it's at home. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think we win. We have the better team, better staff. It's at home, and plus we're gonna be more. Well, Honestly, I don't even know if we're going to be more battle tested than Florida because of Florida's tough schedule.
Oh, Florida, yeah, Florida's definitely going to have some really tough games on their belt. Texas A&M, Miami, UC. I mean, they're going to get right past UCF. And in my predictions, I actually had UCF beating Florida because it was set up in a really nice trap game spot. So I think Florida comes into this game angry, trying to prove a statement. I think they're going to give Tennessee quite a bit of trouble. Could be potentially down to the wire. But I do think the Vols pull away and get the W over Florida. So 6-0, no differences so far, but this one could definitely raise some. Alabama coming to Knoxville. How much of a difference is Nick Saban going to make for Alabama now that he's not there anymore? Is Kalen DeBoer going to come in and beat Tennessee in Neyland Stadium? That's the big question everybody's asking. Lucas, we'll start with you. What's your take?
I do think that we could definitely beat Alabama this year.
Yeah.
We have them at home. And part of me, is it crazy to think that I kind of think we do have a better team than Alabama?
It's not the craziest thing I've heard.
Because probably the only good thing about Bama that I really like is Jalen Miller, honestly. So, but I don't know. I know Neyland, of course, is going to be loud. It's going to be a tough home environment. But if that Florida game just wasn't before the Alabama game, I would probably pick us to beat Alabama. But just because of that, the game placement, I'm going to pick Alabama, man.
Oh, there you go. All right, so Lucas picks Bama. Julio, what about you?
I think it's close. I mean, I feel like it's kind of a coin flip game. Because I know some people think Alabama's fell off like really hard. Not really. Now, do I think like Bama's going to win the national championship? No, but I think they'll have a pretty good year. At least for a first-year head coach, I think. But I think Tennessee barely edges it out. I mean, I could easily see us losing. Like I said, it's almost a toss-up.
Right.
But since it's at home, I would probably pick us. Same thing if it was at Bama.
Well, boys, this is definitely a tough one for sure. This will definitely be Tennessee's. I think this will be the Vols' toughest test yet. It's going to be Nico versus Jalen Milroe. I think it's going to be another great offensive matchup. Maybe not to the extent that Bryce Young versus Hendon Hooker was. However, I do think this is going to be a high-scoring shootout type of matchup. Alabama scores and Tennessee scores. Bama, Tennessee. Now, of course, Bama did lose a whole lot of playmakers over the offseason. And they, of course, lost their main guy at the helm. But DeBoer's a really good coach. He's got a really good offense coming in, and new schemes that I think Alabama will adjust to pretty well. But I think I'm going to say the same thing that I said for Oklahoma. I think Alabama under a new coach is going to suffer their fair share of growing pains, and I don't think it's going to be to the extent that Oklahoma is going to have, like where they go 7-5 or something like that. But they're going to take some losses, and I think Tennessee on the road is going to be one of them. So that is my take on that. It's going to be a really fun game to watch, but I think the Vols just barely edge it out and come on top. All right, well, next up, I feel like that we don't really need to talk about this one too much. Kentucky at home. So, you know, it's going to be interesting. You know, I'd imagine we wear the black uniforms again since it's coming up on Halloween, and it's going to be a night game. You know, it's going to be interesting for sure. Can Brock Vandagriff adjust to the intense crowd that Neyland Stadium has? That's the question. Lucas, what's your take?
Well, the answer is no. Win for Tennessee.
All right, not much thought into that one, I guess. Julio?
Yeah, I think it's a win. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I mean, the Kentucky game, I feel like, because this is usually how the games go if we win, it's either we blow Kentucky out or we barely scrape by. Mm-hmm. Like, I've just noticed, like, there's never been, like, one game where we've been, like, in fully control and win by, like, 14 to 21 points or whatever. But
yeah, right.
usually we either dominate the game or we, you know, somehow scrape it out. But I think since it's in Neyland, I think it's probably a pretty good beating. I don't think it's like extremely bad. I think it's by like at least 14 points. I said that's at the least. That's just my opinion. I think we win by at least 2 touchdowns. Maybe I'm wrong. Heck, maybe
All right.
Brock Vandergriff might be a good quarterback, but I just don't see him winning anything.
Yeah, we'll definitely find out for sure.
Well, also, and someone was like, "Well, they've technically beat you in Neyland." I'm sorry, but I don't count home win. Winning against a away team whenever it's like what 20% capacity or something.
Yeah, it was COVID year, Mickey Mouse.
Right. Yeah.
And I would say the same thing if say when Tennessee played Florida. I don't remember the COVID year if it was was it in Gainesville? I
No, it
think
was
it
in
was.
Knoxville.
No, it was in Knoxville. Okay. Well, I'm saying if it was in Gainesville and say Tennessee won, yeah, we technically would have beat them in Gainesville. But guess what? That didn't happen. Because it didn't happen, but also I think even like I said, if we did, I don't think I would count that
Right.
because it's not a full capacity game.
Right. Well, you established that pretty well, Julio. My take on this game goes as follows, because I have a great sound effect for this one. Okay,
Yeah.
that's weird. It didn't play. It's supposed to be the. Hold on. Let me.
Pick up.
Yeah. Let me. Hold on. Let me try that again.
Pick up your shovel and get back to the coal mines, baby. Go Big Orange.
Did it not
There
do it
we
again?
go. There we
Oh,
go.
did it? There we go.
Yeah. Now I got it. Okay. Now I can go ahead and give us a W there. All right. So Lucas has us going at this point 7-1, and me and Julio have 8-0. So by this point, Tennessee is probably a top 5 team, either which way you look at it. So yeah.
I'm hoping and praying that I'm wrong about the Alabama game, but
Yeah.
it's just the place. It's just the placement of the game that I have us taking an L.
Right. Well, we'll see how it goes. All right. Next up, Mississippi State. It's another night game, also at home. Mississippi State, a lot of questions, but they are bringing in Jeff Lebby, who I think can do a great job in turning that team around. But will they do it year one, and will they beat Tennessee and Neyland year one? What's your take?
Yeah, they're not beating Tennessee. Jeff Lebby could come out and be in a few years and be like the greatest head coach in Mississippi State football history, but it's not going to be because of anything he does this year.
Gotcha. Julio?
I feel the same way.
All right. Well, that didn't take too long. Yes, I also agree. Mississippi State. Sorry to the Cowbell College, but I think the Vols beat you. So wouldn't want to beat you.
I will say though, I do like the Jeff Lebby hire for them, and I think he will turn out well.
Yeah, I agree. All right, on to the next game. This one, not one we're looking forward to talking about. So Georgia on the road in Athens. Obviously a tough environment to play in against a really, really good team in Georgia with probably the best head coach right now that's still coaching, and a really, really good team overall. Really stacked team. They're going to probably, by this point, still be a top 5, top 3 team, even if they lose a game. So, nonetheless, what do y'all think is going to happen in this game?
I gotta pick Georgia until I actually see us beat Georgia. I do think we are starting to close the gap a little bit with them, especially in recruiting, but I still think we gotta wait a few more years.
All right, Julio?
Same thing.
Not many words to describe that, and unfortunately, yes, I have to side with Julio on this one. I think Tennessee could potentially, make some noise in Athens against Georgia, but until I see it, I can't side with Heupel in Tennessee against Georgia. I think Kirby Smart has figured out that offense pretty well from my point of view. We're going to need to pull into our bag of tricks if we really want to get the dub over Kirby one of these days. So, especially on the road in Georgia, it's going to be a really, really tough environment to play in. So, yes, I have us losing that game. All right, the last 2 games, and I can go ahead and mark this next one as an L for everybody here. UTEP, I feel that needs no explanation.
I mean, if it was against Central Michigan, it would be an L, but since it's UTEP, it's an easy W. Heck, I'd even say Rice would be an L. Only Rice and Central Michigan are the only two good teams that we support, sir. UTEP is garbage.
Uh-huh.
My grandkids could do better than that.
All right. Now that the joke is over, I think we take the W on this one.
Correct. I also do. All right. Moving on to our little brother. Oh, factoid of the day. Since we're talking about both UTEP and Vanderbilt, did you guys know that UTEP has more bowl appearances than Vandy?
Really?
Yeah. UTEP has 15 bowl appearances. Vandy has 9. So yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That moment you realize UTEP is more of a blue blood than Vanderbilt.
Ooh, you might be a playoff team. But yes, that is true. You know what else is also true? That they are losing to Tennessee. I think that is true. So
yeah,
I'm
we're
gonna mark
beating
that down
Vandy.
as a W, and so does Lucas. Julio, do you agree?
Yeah, I think we went.
All right then. So there you have it. Those are our predictions of the Tennessee Volunteers. Lucas has the Tennessee Volunteers going 10-2 with losses to Bama and Georgia. More than likely, this team is at 10-2 going to the college football playoffs as a 10 or 9 or some seed around that range. So pretty good season right there for sure. Me and Julio, on the other hand, have Tennessee going 11-1. Likely means Tennessee will be in the playoffs as a 5 or 6 seed. On top of that, very possibly gives us a chance at going up against Georgia in a rematch for the SEC championship. So talk about a phenomenal season right there for the Vols. As you can tell, we are all very, very high on Tennessee this season, and hopefully they don't let us down. That's all there is to it, boys. I'm really, really confident in this team, and I think y'all can agree with me on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be pretty good this year.
Good stuff. All right, well, we are officially an hour past, which means at this point it's probably time to wrap up the show.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you want to make a prediction really quick?
Real quick. Let's run through that because there is week 0 games, so we do have to talk about those. Even though there's only one that's really worth talking about, in my opinion.
Yeah. And then next week we'll do week 1 predictions.
That's correct. One thing I want to check out though before anything else is, and this is important. Yes, so there is a I'm gonna have to work around that on Monday. Not this Monday, and not the next one either, but the 2nd, so 2 weeks from now, there is a game, a college football game on Monday. So I may have to work around that and reschedule the show. Now it's Florida State versus Boston College, so not anybody too important, but it is important that y'all know that. Okay, anyway, we do have 4 games to touch on and it's been a while since we've been able to do this, so I'm really glad about being able to. I'm really glad about being able to do this for the first time in a very, very long time.
Yeah, last time we did this, we did bowl predictions, and didn't Julio win that?
I think he did, yeah. I don't remember. Yeah, that's right. Julio barely won, I think. Yeah, that was fun. Okay, then, with that out of the way, let's jump into these predictions. So, starting out, and I'll go ahead and share my screen for you guys so that you can see. Okay, so Montana State and New Mexico, who do y'all have winning that one?
Montana State. They're one of the best FCS teams.
Yep, they're favored by 10.5, so.
Yeah, I think I got Montana State in that too.
All right. And then SMU versus Nevada. What do y'all have in that one?
SMU.
I know somebody did like a simulation for like all the week 0 and week 1 games.
Mm-hmm.
They did the SMU Nevada game, and SMU was like leading like 21-3, but then Nevada came back and won in overtime.
Wow, that's crazy. Because they're favored. They're favored by 27, so I'd imagine that.
Yeah.
This one.
It would be basically the biggest upset of the season.
Oh, for sure.
Nevada was
For
able to pull
sure.
it off. But
Man.
I'm gonna go SMU.
Yeah, me too. Then Delaware State versus Hawaii. We're all siding with Hawaii on this one, correct?
Yeah, Hawaii.
Yeah.
All right, and then finally, Florida State versus Georgia Tech. This is a big game right here, of course, for a lot of people. This will really kind of prove that the Florida State crybabies have actually, if they've got a team good enough to prove that they're still a good team, or if Georgia Tech can get the upset and prove that the Jackets might be back. Whoa, this is a really good one. Florida State favored by 11 in Dublin. Who do y'all have winning?
Yeah, Julio, you go first.
Putting all the pressure on Julio, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like Brinky. I just don't think they're good enough right now. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think I'll take Florida State just right now.
All right.
This is my opinion. I don't think they're like as far behind as everybody thinks they are, and I think they can easily probably make it. Make it. Make it a game probably next year. They just need better recruiting.
Yeah.
So you got Florida State winning.
Yeah.
What about you, Lucas?
This game could go either way, man. I could see either team winning. And I would be pretty happy if Georgia Tech was able to pull this off, because I think I mentioned on the show before that I do like Georgia Tech. I would probably say they're like, in my favorites, I'd probably say they're like top 5 favorite. So,
well, they are a Bavarian playoff team.
Yeah, if Georgia Tech was able to pull this off, I would be pretty happy.
But then again, so is Florida State. Huh. Anyway, you go ahead and make your pick.
But you know what? I'm gonna go with Florida State. But this game could go either way. If Georgia Tech pulls this off, I will come on here and sing Ramblin' Wreck. I will. I don't care if Julio or Squid tries to stop me. I'll sing it. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, this has been a long time coming. Oops. It was supposed to show on this screen. Sorry about that. There's people watching. But this has been a long time coming. But for the first time in a while, I'm going to have to disagree with both my co-hosts. I think Georgia Tech pulls out the W over the Florida State Seminoles. I think they proved to everybody that Georgia Tech is back in the college football landscape, and I think Florida State is proven to be a one-hit wonder because of the fact that they've decided to be a bunch of crybabies over the entire offseason. And they're not even going to be, because Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit are commentating this game, so unfortunately for Florida State, man, you get to hear more about Kirk Herbstreit. If I had the picture that says repost to scare a Florida State fan, it's just Kirk Herbstreit's picture, I'd show it right now, but unfortunately I don't. Maybe Florida State proves me wrong and they come out and beat Georgia Tech, but I'm siding with the Yellow Jackets. Give me the Fighting Sea Dogs to beat Florida State, and that is that's all that needs to be said. That's my take on the game, fellas. So
what a massive win if Georgia Tech was able to pull it off.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
If Georgia Tech pulls it off, they'll probably be ranked in the next poll.
Right. So I'm gonna rank them for sure, and I think the AP poll should definitely rank them. All right, catching up on the comments real quick before we wrap things up here. Adam AIL was here. Jackpot X, what's going on, buddy? Let's see. So, yeah, I've got a bunch of comments here to catch up on. Sorry about that, fellas. UTEP is a meme. Absolutely. UTEP's the best meme. Yeah. Pray for my Texas A&M though. Okay. Then, let's see. Yeah, go Rec. I like the Georgia Tech coach. Coach Key is going to win, then lose, then win, then lose, then win, then lose. Yeah, they tend to do that. They're like Northwestern. They're a team that wins and loses they win a game they're not supposed to, and then they lose one they're not supposed to. So maybe it's like that this year, but my expectation is that Georgia Tech's going to surprise a lot of people this season. Dadgummit,
Yeah.
It's not the screen I wanted you to go to. I swear, OBS just does its own thing sometimes. Very frustrating. But anyway, that's going to wrap up the show for tonight. We've gone an hour and 10 over. Appreciate all of you guys for being on here as we did our predictions. And, yeah, really excited to have college football back. Any finalizing words from my two co-hosts over here?
Nope, just go Vols, and that's it for me.
Fair take.
Wow. Didn't mention the other thing today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, go Rice
There
also.
you go. There you go.
There you go.
Because we do have a bet. Remember that. Don't forget. We
Oh, yeah,
do
you
have
best
a bet.
believe.
There's money on the line. Don't forget,
Come
you got to
week
support
one.
Rice.
Wait, who does Central Michigan play week 1? Is it Central Connecticut?
You don't even know.
I think it's Central. It's Central Connecticut.
You don't even know.
Why do you even know who UTEP's first opponent is, bro?
Of course I do.
Of course I
Nebraska.
do.
They played Nebraska, you dingleberry.
Of course I do, you dingleberry. Nebraska.
Yeah. When they upset Nebraska, you can go ahead and hand me my $20. I'll take that. with pride.
They are not upsetting Nebraska, but whatever.
Okay.
But
yeah.
Central Michigan, they're gonna beat Central Connecticut week 1, and then UTEP's gonna lose, and then Rice is gonna lose, and I'm gonna be in the lead.
Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So they do, and they play. They're unlike you. They play on Thursday, so you'll get to see them lose early. Hopefully, Central Michigan can pull off the upset, though. We'll see. All right. Well, that's gonna wrap up the show. Thank you all again for watching. As always, I'm gonna say, make sure to be back here next Monday. We'll have a lot to talk about for sure. So until next time, we'll see you all next week. And as always, power to Tardaria, and of course, go Vols, baby! Woo!
Go Central Michigan.